All right, so welcome to the Herbalism in a Clinical Setting class. We're going to talk about intake, organization, and apothecary management today. If I go too fast, do let me know because I want to make sure that you guys can get everything out of the class today. And again, these are the things we're going to talk about today. So we're going to learn the fundamental qualities that we as herbal practitioners and our clients should also have before we work together. Also want to have and explore the basics that you need to have on your intake form. You want to learn also the secrets to making sure you're asking the right types of questions. We want to also understand how we can avoid contraindications or negative side effects. And we want to learn also how we're going to organize our apothecary and our paperwork, all of that. And we're also going to talk about ready-to-use remedies that you should have in stock, I believe, as an herbal practitioner. I know you say this is the only thing you want to focus on, but we want to make sure that we address everything. Because sometimes people want to withdraw. They don't want to tell you everything. They just say, I just want to focus on this. And so explaining to them why you need to know more, or why you need to know the medications, or why you need to do those things. And even they may have tried to also do it themselves at home. So sometimes you may have people that are wanting to tell you, oh, I just need something for XYZ. And again, just making sure that you know how to explain all of these different things to them. And also that you feel secure so that you are still, practicing in a way that is in line with you and not just changing yourself based on each client as well. Am I a good fit for them is if they're a good fit for you as well. And you could choose to only work with certain people as well. Like you may say, I only want to work with people who are willing to try to get off medication, or I'm only going to work with people who are willing to do the diet and exercise and all those different changes. And that's in your rights to do as well. But the biggest mistake is thinking that we should take in everybody. So as I said, we have to make our boundaries first and set the expectations first and letting them know, and making sure that you both are aligned with that. So if you find another supplier that's going to be a little bit cheaper, by having that price per ounce, one, it will let you, as I said, shop around, but two, it'll also help you to be able to figure out just how much it actually costs you to make the different things that you're making. So you can actually make sure you're making a profit, because sometimes, believe it or not, some people may be making products and they're really not making much of a profit, especially if they're not factoring in the amount of time that it may take them, etc. And then also as you are bringing in or taking out herbs, you want to keep up with the quantity. So for instance, it could look like this. If you make a custom tea for a person, you take out the different teas, you make the tea, you do all of that. Then you have the individual jars left, and you can weigh those so you can actually just write down the actual amount that you have and the date. And that's one way that you can actually keep up with it. Another way that you can do is anytime if you sell bulk herbs, again, you may sell 1 ounce or something. So notating that and going in. And so this is why you have these columns, so you can do that multiple times to be able to keep up with each of the herbs. Faculties to maybe do that, then it might be good to have that remedy as well. Kind of feel like I went a little bit fast. Did I have any questions on that part?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the extract and the tinctures and you giving them to a client, you say you give them enough about almost 2 months. So how many ounces would you give them in that case that can last them up to 2 months?
Right. So it depends on also your instructions. So how many times a day they're going to use it. But probably I would give about 4 ounces for 2 months. So usually with about taking it morning and night or as needed, depending, I would usually give about 4 ounces. Now you don't necessarily, they would still have some left over within that time. But usually I like to give maybe 3 to 4 ounces would be a good start.
Okay. And one more question. Taking it twice a day would be the best thing to recommend someone, or just depend on the circumstances?
Yeah, depends. I would say it depends on the circumstance. And I would say usually like for a person that has relatively good health, you might do, the standard, but then if somebody is in a more weakened condition or, and maybe in the beginning you start off slower. So it just kind of depends.
Okay, thank you.
Just type it in like that, just letting them know up front you're going to need to know. And also if they, they tell you the dosage and all of that, that can be really helpful as well. So the second one is the Essential Herb Drug Vitamin Interaction Guide. I think it's a good one as well. And there's one of the things that it did show me is the amount of side effects that the pharmaceutical drugs have. And the other thing about why, sometimes people may think that it's better because maybe it works quicker, like, aspirin versus willow bark. So aspirin comes from salicylic acid from willow bark, but people think that aspirin is better because it's more concentrated or works quicker. But the aspirin has so many more side effects. And all of these drugs, what they do is they actually leach different vitamins and minerals from the body. And the difference is with the herbs is they have vitamins and minerals. And it comes with it because the different acids or the different chemicals that they take out of it needs those to neutralize some of the effects. But it doesn't have that because they just took one thing out. So that's one thing that also this book does is able to show the people that you're working with that, you think that it's really helping you. It's not healing you. And it actually can, does all of this after you take it for a long time. So it's actually leaching zinc from you, or it's leaching this from you. And guess what? Now you have another drug or something that you're taking, or you have a new problem because of this. So protecting yourself. So as herbalists, we know that herbalism is not regulated. It's not deemed medicine. And I know I kind of am a little bit over the line sometime. But technically you aren't supposed to use things like cure, treat, or diagnose. So we're not, arguing whether the herbs do that, but that's by law. You're not supposed to use any of those words. We're not allowed to prescribe anything, unless you actually are a doctor. So instead we give recommendations, and we usually use different terminology like, supporting or nourishing, things like that. It's just to protect yourself. When you're just starting out, you might, make those mistakes, but as you get bigger and, more eyes are seeing you, you do want to make sure you're careful. And so that's why you see me always give disclaimers before the beginning. And it's just a thing to do just to protect yourself. Doctors, whenever you're filling out any medical, anything, you probably don't pay attention, but they have disclaimers too. So it's just everybody, protects themselves. And so you do also want to add some kind of disclaimer or checkbox on your form before you work with clients.
Before going into what herbs I have for kidney disease, how about you explain to me what is going on with you? What are you I was gonna say, what are you feeling, or what is going on with your body? I don't know if that's a correct.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Okay. I would redirect it back to them to have them kind of explain to me what's going on.
And let me give you the answer that most people will give you, because this is what most people say. They'll say, yeah, I went to my doctor and he says I have kidney disease, and he told me that I needed to be on this medication, but I don't really want to be on medication. I want to try something natural. So I was just trying to get information. So that's probably what most people would say.
Okay. So then if I knew that organ.
But when our numbers are the same, sometimes that might be healthy for them, but it's not necessarily for us. So I think it's important to be mindful of all those different things as well. But the numbers are important. But, that's why we don't go only by numbers, because sometimes the numbers don't pick up something. That's where you see people where they go to the doctor can't tell them what's wrong. After they run the test, they can't tell them what's wrong. And so numbers are important, they're good, but knowing the other information I think is useful too.